Hello, my name is Caitlin Scorsia, and I'm presenting my PowerPoint on autism spectrum disorder for the class Child 164. On the title page, you will see 3 people. These people are 2 of my friends and myself. We are all on the spectrum. My learning disorder, specifically, was called nonverbal learning disorder. This affected my ability to understand nonverbal cues and nonverbal communication, such as writing and even jokes. Thankfully, through the help of staff and other members of the special education community, I've been able to overcome these obstacles, and I'm even preparing to become a special education instructional aide, which I am very excited to do. The first thing that we need to know about is the definition. The definition of autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disorder that affects communication and behavior. One thing you will see in children with autism is that a lot of them tend to avoid direct eye contact. I've seen students unable to do so, and also they may be unable to communicate through language. A student of mine makes noises and rambles, and although I can't understand him, we do have a lot of fun together. The second is causes. The causes of autism spectrum disorder can range from having a sibling with AUSD, to having older parents, to having genetic causes, and having a very low birth rate. Having older parents increases the ability that the child will have developmental issues because of the mother's age. Also, having a sibling with AUSD increases the genetic probability that the child will have autism. And have a very low birth rate can increase the probability that this child will have issues later in life. As I was a premature child, I ended up having physical and mental disabilities. Three would be characteristics. Some of the characteristics of autism spectrum disorder can be marked deficits in nonverbal and verbal communications best for social interaction, lack of social reciprocity, failure to develop and maintain peer relationships appropriate to developmental level, stereotyped motor or verbal behaviors, or unusual sensory behaviors, excessive adherence to routines and rituals, or restricted and fixed interests. This specific characteristic I have seen in many of my friends. A lot of them will talk about how they will have a certain interest for a couple months to sometimes even a year, and they will talk about it for a long time, and they'll be stuck to it. Also, a lot of the children I work with will be very restricted in their interests, as in a lot of them will like cars and dinosaurs, and those are their 2 favorite things. And if you want them to do something and they're reluctant, you can usually use those interests as an initiative. The next one is hyper or hyporeactivity of sensory input to unusual interests in sensory aspects of the environment. I've seen this a lot in children with not just autism, but even students with anger issues as well. They get overstimulated and have a hard time controlling their emotions and their body when that happens. Usually, I will try to take them away from the situation and help them calm down. The next are challenges. Some of the challenges children with on the spectrum may face are understanding and using gestures like pointing or waving, understanding and using words, following directions, reading or learning to read or writing, having conversations. They may also have problems with sharing attention with someone else and focusing on the same object or event. They may also have problems joining in play with others and sharing toys. They may also have problems with responding to someone when they invite them to play or talk. They may also have problems understanding how others feel. They also have problems with taking turns in conversations and also have problems with making and keeping friends. They also have problems with changing from one activity to another, being interested in more than a few foods, being interested in only a few objects or topics. That's a real problem for students and adults with autism when they're hyper-fixed on a certain topic or object. That's why usually you can use positive reinforcements, such as getting food if they like, getting the toy they wanted from the store. I've seen that using those tools can ultimately show progress in a child's behavior and understanding of why they need to do certain things. Strategies. Some strategies are keeping messages simple and direct, establishing a predictable environment, including the teacher's language and behavior. Also, the daily schedule needs to be predictable, and the classroom's furnishings and materials. For behavioral management programs, use tangible reinforcements, as I said earlier, such as small toys, stickers, music, favorite foods, and pair with these positive attention. Six, resources for parents. One of these is the Autism Society of Los Angeles. Why I think this is a good resource is because, one, it is very local to the parents in my area, and two, they provide resources for not only just the parents, but for the children as well. They have meetings, and they also have different events, which again will be great for social exposure for the children. Another one is Lafitte. They are great because they are participating in the research for autism. So researching why does it happen, what can we learn more about it? And they also connect parents to different resources to help them and their child as well. These are my work citations. One of the things I used was the book, The Inclusion in Childhood Education. I also used the National Institute of Mental Health. I also used the American Speech Language Hearing Association. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learn more about autism spectrum disorder.